to him. And the second thing is that about when I took over, there was a complete different vision, and vision was there. But when I took over, I really wanted to create a platform for people to come and grow along with me. That's how I strongly believed it. Because of my life story, which you will be able to reflect and connect back when I'm going to share it with you all. Once all of you are being sharing, then I'll be definitely doing it. But I strongly believe that everybody has a capacity and a potential, and we can often go beyond our horizons. Like Prem Sai was saying, right? We can actually push our own limits and expand the horizon. This is one of my vision. Uh, However, I would like to extend this particular thing globally. I would like to build up a community where people are there to support each other. It will be always nice to have a person, no like-minded person, just to listen to you and say, "Yeah, it's okay." Just being there, not even saying anything. There is some shoulder is always available for you to just go and lie back and just feel refreshed after a little while. That's a wonderful journey, is it not? So my path is also to create a conducive learning environment. I definitely believe that we are on. Everybody has a purpose. Some of you have written that I'm here to find a purpose. Some of you have written that my past and the future. There's a little bit of juggle, but whatever be it, the past is all about your wisdom, and we can always get through it. But that moment when we are all troubling, when we're all facing challenges, it becomes so heavy and hectic that we don't know how to come out of it. So my promise is to, for this session alone, I would like to provide a conducive learning environment for people who are ready to share their stories. Why this concept came? This concept wholly came, I was just thinking when a person really suffers, for example, I am suffering some maybe some other issues. I tend to believe that I'm the only person suffering over here, but the same person is exposed to a community and they start listening to many other inspirational stories wherein you get to know about the other person's struggles and things, and you will never ever feel like you're actually struggling, is it not? How many of you find it very resonating? Can I have a thumbs up so that I'll be able to understand, I'm able to relate to you? Wonderful, thank you. So that's how this whole concept birthed into. I know there will be few people to take in right now, but I would like to have a bigger community where we can support each other, and maybe we can have a contribution goals itself over here. So in that way, I would like to have this. This is some of the things we want. I will play it. Just let me know if the audios are visible. You're able to hear the audios. Audio working? So when I took over the company, there were very few projects, but somehow the commitment, the power of perseverance, something that I can do the best. I didn't know it because I was totally new to the corporate world, but there was some gut feeling said me, go, no, no, take this company. It is for you. Somewhere I just went with my emotional reasoning. Have I checked the reality? No, that would actually turned out to be a blunder then. But somehow there was some untiring efforts or something like a fighting spirit. It kept me on going. But that spirit didn't last for long because immediately COVID came. Then there was again a trouble, and there was again some lot of challenges. Wherein will I be able to do it? Did I make a costly mistake of investing such a huge money on this business, where I don't know the tracks and ways so that I can get gently to the business? So there are so many other questions kept popping in, but somehow, thankfully. I went on to give a free services to the people just to serve their mental health and well-being. That's how we came up. I came up with projects on COVID. So these are some of the programs. Today, I would like everybody to please unmute yourself and applaud yourself for taking a biggest decision in your life, because this is one small step. But I believe the small step can be a contributor of many just by sharing your stories, whether it's material, immaterial, whether people are going to draw an inspiration or not. But still, you're actually being here on this field. So I feel personally you all deserve a big round of applause, and even more than that. Can you please unmute yourself and give a big round of applause? Wonderful. Awesome. So we have speakers for the day is Shrikanta ji, Prem Sai, Kishore, Deepak, Akila, myself, and Bhuvana has told us she might be a participant, which I also prefer to be an audience. Rohini, Radhakrishnan. I know, but sometimes even our own sharing, if you feel like you really wanted to contribute, please don't stop yourself. You can go ahead with your sharing. Is it okay, Vijay, Rohini, Radhakrishnan? Wonderful. Yes, awesome. So if the speakers are ready, we can go ahead. But before that, I would like to say something which is very crucial, is that right from our birth, every stages of our life, be your birth, maybe your school days or your childhood days or your education, everything plays a significant, your marriage, and the whole lot of things, contributes in each and one of the way. Maybe it has added values, or it would have refined you from doing something differently. uh, I just wanted to take the essence, whatever being told here, shared over here, respecting the viewer's point of view, and because it is their story. Yes. So it cannot be, it's not somebody else. So we all, with due respect, I want you to focus. So whenever you feel connected, or as soon as the speakers finishes it, you're free to and welcome to share your own. If you feel that it's very appropriate. Yes. Can I have a small promise? Maybe we'll call it as a pinky promise. Can you all do this pinky promise? Yeah.
Exactly, sure, my promise.
Yeah, wonderful. So it's not, we are not here to judge anybody. I would like everybody to please unmute yourself and applaud yourself for taking a biggest decision in your life, because this is one small step. But I believe the small step can be a contributor of many just by sharing your stories, whether it's material, immaterial, whether people are going to draw an inspiration or not. But still, you're actually being here on this field. So I feel personally you all deserve a big round of applause, and even more than that. Can you please unmute yourself and give a big round of applause? Wonderful. Awesome. So we have speakers for the day is Shrikanta ji, Prem Sai, Kishore, Deepak, Akila, myself, and Bhuvana has told us she might be a participant, which I also prefer to be an audience. Rohini, Radhakrishnan. I know, but sometimes even our own sharing, if you feel like you really wanted to contribute, please don't stop yourself. You can go ahead with your sharing. Is it okay, Vijay, Rohini, Radhakrishnan? Wonderful. Yes, awesome. So if the speakers are ready, we can go ahead. But before that, I would like to say something which is very crucial, is that right from our birth, every stages of our life, be your birth, maybe your school days or your childhood days or your education, everything plays a significant, your marriage, and the whole lot of things, contributes in each and one of the way. Maybe it has added values, or it would have refined you from doing something differently. uh, I just wanted to take the essence, whatever being told here, shared over here, respecting the viewer's point of view, and because it is their story. Yes. So it cannot be, it's not somebody else. So we all, with due respect, I want you to focus. So whenever you feel connected, or as soon as the speakers finishes it, you're free to and welcome to share your own. If you feel that it's very appropriate. Yes. Can I have a small promise? Maybe we'll call it as a pinky promise. Can you all do this pinky promise? Yeah.
Exactly. Sure. My promise.
Yeah, wonderful. So it's not, we are not here to judge anybody. We are not here to pass any comments on anybody, but it is their story and we are totally with them. Full of respect.
Always bed of roses. In fact, it's always challenges. We do face a different type of challenges at different stage of our life. But what's important is, as Ms. Tulsi was just mentioning about a few minutes back, the perseverance one should have, and not giving up that attitude. Not giving up attitude. It always help us to overcome those challenges. And life is a journey with full of challenges always. I just would like to share my own experience, my own struggle, which I underwent in my life, and how some of those perseverance which I had in those moments and not giving up attitude in those difficult moments helped me to overcome many of those challenges and made me a better person today. Friends, I was born in a small village in Chikmagalur district. You're very familiar with Karnataka state. Chikmagalur district is a district where once Indira Gandhi contested her election. In fact, hope you remember that. So the village which I was born, it's about 30 kilometers from Chikmagalur, and it did not have electricity. In fact, I'm talking about 1954. It's a small village with around 2,500 or 3,000 population. And we used to study using kerosene lamp, our primary school, I still remember. The school I studied did not even had an RCC roof, in fact. It was a thatched roof. That is the type of school which we were studying, in fact. And till 10th standard, I studied in Kannada medium. In fact, the Kannada was, that's our language in Karnataka, and we studied in Kannada language. For pre-university, the 12th standard, my parents put me in Hassan. It's around 100 kilometers from my small village. Hassan Government College, that is where, I was joined because we did not have facility near the place. And my parents wanted to study. I also wanted to study. So I was staying in Hassan in a small room and was admitted to a government college, Hassan, where I took up for pre-university. The medium of education in that college, those days used to be the English medium, in fact. And I came from Kannada medium school, and there are around 5,000 students those days in the government college of various things. And medium of communication was, teaching was English. And there are around 50 students in my class, and I could not understand what those professors or the teachers were teaching me. I could not understand the head and tail of that, in fact. And most of my classmates, they all had come from convent education background, in fact. So they started observing me first 1 week, 10 days. They came to know that, oh, this boy is from a village. I was so poor after giving the lecture, where the lectures used to say that, please take down notes. Friends, you won't believe, I used to look down what to take down. Did I drop my pen? Did I drop my notebook? What to take down? I was so poor, in fact. And my friends, my classmates, looking at my weakness, they started ragging me, in fact. This is the first time I heard about ragging, almost about 40 years back, in fact, ragging. In the first few days, I was sitting in the front bench of the classroom, and they started pushing me back. And after 2 or 3 weeks, I was supposed to sit in the last bench of the school class, in fact. I used to get highly humiliated from it. They thought, oh, this boy is a Gawara, in fact, he doesn't know anything. You can just imagine for a young boy around 15, 16 years, away from the parents for the first time, staying in a room, nobody to share your emotions, nobody to share your feelings. What type of feelings you would have undergone, in fact. I was getting like that. I was getting so much depressed in my life. But one day when I got up, I got some courage. I took some courage and went and spoke to the English professor. I told him about my problem. Sir, I'm not able to understand what all of you are teaching. So what should I do? Somehow he gave me a good listening. He understood. And he advised me one thing. Shrikant, I can understand your problem. Do one thing. From tomorrow morning, you buy one English newspaper daily. Read the front page for about 10 to 15 minutes. Stand in front of a mirror. You also take one dictionary, which I'll give it to you, the English to Kannada dictionary from library. He took it and gave. And he said that any difficult words you find, please try to understand the meaning of those words. And you come and meet me after around 35 to 40 days. So next day morning, at those days in Karnataka, there used to be a paper called Deccan Herald. Even today it is there. It used to be available for 10 paisa those days, in fact. So every day I religiously followed his advice, buy an English paper, stand in front of the mirror in my room and read it, and found the difficult words I used to understand the meaning of this. That really helped me for about 30 to 40 days, which I did. I was able to understand what the lectures are teaching me, in fact. And I'm happy to inform you that I passed my pre-university in the very first attempt. Later on, I did my BSc graduation. I was always very passionate to become a salesperson. So then I joined the selling profession. I joined a multinational company. I worked my last around 35 years in the FMCG industry. And my last stint was with Amrutanjan Healthcare as Vice President, Sales and Marketing. During that time, I also did an executive MBA from UK University, in fact. And that really helped me to transform myself to become a good salesperson or a general manager or the vice president. Why I'm recollecting the story is my life experience is that when I became the vice president, I was traveling around 20 countries from Amrithanjan as a business development. I made presentation in English for a customer in New York, London, Europe, many European countries, which I used to travel. And I used to be feel very proud of myself that one day I was struggling to even utter a single word. And today I'm able to communicate to these international customers who are so good, in fact, and I'm able to communicate, I'm able to interact with them, in fact. So that lesson which I learned, that hardship which I went through in my early part of my life, helped me to shape my career. In fact, I became very successful in my whatever possible my sales and marketing career, and I was handling the all India and also some international markets. So the hardship which I went and the learnings that I got really shaped my career. And today I'm happy that I'm blessed with wife and also two beautiful daughters, in fact, who are settled down, who are working for good companies today. All these things I was able to do because of the hard work, because of the perseverance, because of that not giving up attitude that I developed, in fact. This is what I just wanted to share. This is my small story. I hope you will appreciate or hope you will like it. Thank you very much.
Start my story with a, with a statement, with a sentence, or you can say with a quotation that pain comes in so many different forms. And life would give, pains, but the suffering is an attitude. It all depends on us whether we want to suffer, or we can explore possibilities to, go beyond our limiting beliefs. That's what is my tagline even in my profession as well. So I basically belong to a small town that is Sambalpur. I am sure that you would be knowing about this small town. This is famous for Sambalpuri sari, and also Hirakut Dam is there, very near to, around 10 kilometers from Sambalpur. So I belong to that small place, and then I did my schooling and graduation over there. And I would say till I entered school, particularly, sorry, the college. Till that, it was a very rosy, and being the youngest at home, and it was very rosy, pinky, very nice childhood. And being the youngest, and I have two elder brothers, and the first elder brother is around 15 years elder to me, and the second one is around 9 years elder to me. So when I entered college, what happened? I'm very fond of this, the second elder brother. Very fond. I mean, people used to tell us that how come, you are so connected. I don't know. There would be some connection from the previous birth or so. And at the same time, I was very fearful about this brother, that if he goes out and if he's late coming back home, I don't know what used to happen. I used to cry a lot and all that. So it was, 1996. Those days, so one like his birthday used to be on January. So I very nicely wrote a nice poem, and then I gifted him on January 27th. And little did I know that in the flow of writing the poem, I wrote something which was yet to happen. And I didn't realize, I mean, it was not a thoughtful action of writing that. So those lines where I would like to share those few lines here. So those lines were like, but oh my loving friend, I fear if it comes to an end. How will I search you from the sand? So these were the lines. And exactly after 1 month, he got married, and within 15 days of his marriage, he met with an accident, and then he left this. He left us on February 27th, exactly 1 month after his birthday. And then when we were just, the family was in a trauma, and then after a couple of months, when me, my father, and my elder sisters, we were just, sitting and discussing something about that. So I shared that poem to my father, and my father said, how come you wrote these lines? I said, I don't know. It was by the flow, or something of that sort. So after that, it was like I went to a depression for a couple of, around 24 months, around 2 years. I went to a depression that my pulse rate became very high. Doctor said that if you do not deal with it, then you would be landing up with a lot of medical conditions. So that was the first incident which shook me up. And then eventually and gradually, I thought of, after 2 3 years, a lot of suffering, I thought of why not, slowly people started advising that start yoga. I think that would help. So by then I came to Bhubaneswar, and then I was pursuing my couple of courses over there, certification courses over there, and I was working at the same time. But then even if I was working, I was not fully settled, in my there were no stability in my mind. So I started, going to yoga, and then somehow, eventually, slowly, I started getting to understand that incident as an incident, not getting involved into that particular incident. And then within 2 3 years, I could come out from that particular situation. And very slowly, when I used to talk about my brother, I used to talk about, thank God, once upon a time, he was in my life, and then that was the beautiful opportunity to be his younger sister and all that. And then as usual, being a girl, you get married. So I got married, and then I moved to Delhi. So in Delhi, what happens, so once you get married, I think Tulsi ji and other women out here can relate to this, is once a girl get married, there are many things, it just comes like a flood to handle the relationship and many other aspect. And from Sambalpur to Bhubaneswar, and then going to Delhi. So it's from a small town to a B grade city, and then to Sida, directly going to a metro. It was like, oh my God, what do I do now? So what happened, like we all at that time, it was like okay, we need to do job, and we need to establish in our career and all that. So I started that journey of working with a few companies. I was working as an assistant manager, recruitment and training over there in few companies. I didn't realize that few fundamentals of life has to be taken care of. I never, because these things are not taught in the school. Never ever, even the parents, I think that time, they didn't give that much of importance that food can be so important. Because now being a coach, I realize and I understand that there are four aspects of a human being. That is your body, your mind, your energy, and your emotions. These four aspects has to be taken care of. So I didn't realize that. And then very slowly, I started messing up with my body, because we used to travel in a bike for around 70 kilometers up and down, staying in Delhi and going to Gurgaon. 36 kilometers one way, and then coming back. So it was around 72 kilometers up and down on a daily basis. And I was like, okay, no time for cooking, so let's eat this, or let's eat that. And then you don't know that when you are not sitting in your driver's seat of, to make your beautiful life, and somebody else is driving you. And then eventually I conceived, and I was a mom of a beautiful son in 2008. Within, not, I would say, around 1.5 year, I got a disc prolapse condition, and I was bedridden again. And then, yeah, that time, 2010, I still remember 2010 June. So we shifted to Hyderabad, because my husband got an offer from Mahindra Satyam over here in Hyderabad. We shifted here. And then I started, my freelancing, my independent work. But because till then I was working as a full time. So in 2010, I took a decision to start independent, as a freelancer, right? And then I got this disc prolapse condition, and then doctor said, Premsa, you have to go for a second thought and think about, because training would need a lot of standing, you know that. And I don't think, because you need to go for a second thought whether to continue with this profession or not. So again, as usual, Rona Dhona and all that happened. Like, what do I do? My life is gone. I think I have ruined my life. And then I did a blood work, and then you name it, I had a deficiency of it. I had a deficiency. I was anemic. My hemoglobin was around 6.5 or so, and no calcium. I mean, everything, all the vitamins, whatever it is, that vitamin D deficiency and everything. It was a pain. It was even difficult even to go to the washroom and come back. At night, it was like changing a side, right? Like from one side to another. If you move also, it would be like all Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, they're standing in front of me. So such pain. But then after around 3-4 months of all this desperateness and all that, one day I thought of, let me just, sit with this problem and think and focus with this problem and see what all possibilities are there that I can explore. Maybe there is a solution and I'm not looking to that particular side. So, because when I'm talking about the doctors advising not to go or give up this profession, those were the allopathy doctors over here. So they suggested. So I said, like, okay, let me start talking about my problem, being vulnerable about my problem. Like, Thulasi ji is encouraging with that itself for this community. So I started talking about my issues and all that with people, and find solutions. Like, do you have this idea? Do you know something that we can think about? And then when I started doing this, I realized that few people started giving me advice that, Premsai, why don't you think of a Ayurvedic doctor? Why don't you think of a physiotherapist? Why don't you go for this or that or that? So I had a couple of things to do in my research, right? And then I started researching. I started going to a few doctors. So I got a very, good doctor over here in Hyderabad. His name is Dr. Kranti. So when I went there, he is the only person who said, Premsa, you can, jump, hop and dance. Give me just, just 1 month time, and I'll tell you what has happened and how can you go about it. How can you overcome the situation? And then he started doing with Panchakarma, and few stuff of treatment started. And then he gave me an idea about how food is so important for our life, how kitchen is so important, how those spices that we use are so related to our body and mind. And then when I started my journey of healing, I would say it's a healing journey. So when I started the healing journey from there, I started meeting the right people. And I think those days I did my NLP practitioner certification. And I still remember the last day of NLP like practitioner certification, we were given a piece of wood, and our mentor asked to all of us, all the participants, that write what you are suffering, and the other side write what you want to break through. And it was the last day and the post lunch, like the second half of the session, and he asked that, you have to hit it and break it. I said, are you mad? This is a muscle work, and I am, my condition, you don't know, if I show my report, you will go behosh over here. So don't ever, think of that I can hit this and I can break it. So Sanjeev is my mentor. He said, Premsa, it's everything in your mind. I said, really? Then he, did a demo kind of thing for 2-3 minutes, like, and all that, some affirmations and all that. And we were around 10 people in the, 12 people, 12 people in the room. And when my turn came, what happened? I hit it and it broke into two. I still have the photograph. I said, oh my God. I was so shocked. I said, oh my God, this is me? Means some muscles and some energy still there in my body. I think that I need to enhance. And this happened in the month of December. In the month of January, I met a person. He is a myofascia expert. He has done his course from Sweden. He has a different approach towards this kind of problem, how to heal. I somehow met him somewhere, and then he said, Premsa, I can come to your house and I will train you for around 1.5 years. And then it was a blessing, I would say, because I'm still getting goosebumps. And then he started coming home, and then he trained for 2012 and 13. And 14, we planned to go to US because of some project work. So 14, 15, and 16 was my, you can say, my pause time. So then I realized how a pause helps you to, kind of take a giant leap, right? It's a giant leap. So a little pause, and then it gives a lot of information. So it empowers you to that level that you can take the giant leap. So those 3 4 years where I stayed in US, I started, to reflect, to introspect, to do all the stuff. I started doing some small yoga courses. I did my inner engineering over there, and many many other stuff. And then I also started with my website, that is mylifepetals.com, because this was a name suggested by my friends over there. I started sharing my story over there. People started getting inspiration and all that. Then said, Premsai, that you should have a platform so that you can start putting all those blogs and articles and sketches and painting. You'll not believe, in those years, I think I might have painted around more than 50 sketches, and each sketches were having some quotations. So quotation like I wish I could. I'll share my website so that I would, definitely would be needing your expert comment. So quotation like, if you know how to handle filled well, then flower will definitely happen. So those kind of quotations started coming to my mind and all that. You know what happened? A magic happened over there. I started participating on dance shows, and I did a lot of dance programs over there in US. Imagine, from bedridden, taking care of the spine and going to stage and dancing. Yeah, like, I have completed my third year ODC in school days, but I after that I didn't think of even going back to stage and dancing again and all that. But there I got an opportunity to perform around for 3 4 years over there. Came back in 2018, and again started my connecting with clients and all that. And from there it's like. It's a blessing, I would say. And at the same time, I would like to thank this universe that some pain gives you that opportunity to think and look at in different directions. So sometimes we're looking in this direction and we're thinking that, okay, might be the answer is right here, but at times we might miss looking at the left or right, or maybe the backside the answer is there. So this particular incident has helped me to go beyond and explore possibilities. The answers are always within, we have to just seek. So last year was a pandemic, but before that in 2019, when I was full-fledged on with my yoga practitioner, but these days I'm doing hatha yoga practice. I realized that I lost my mom actually in 2019, and then I again got a certain indication that, okay, physical is taken care of, the understanding about the food is taken care of. What about mind? Being a coach, being a certified trainer, if I do not understand how to deal with my mind, I'll mess up with my participants, right? So I decided to go to a Vipassana meditation. I'm sure that you would be, if you have heard about Vipassana, it's a 10 days course. And the moment you enter, it's a free of cost program all over the world. And you did not pay a single penny. You go there, they'll give you room to stay, food to eat, but only one condition, with a promise, they will take your phone, and you're not allowed to speak for 10 good days. No speaking, no eye contact, no communication. You have to just look down and go. And morning 4:30 till night around 9:30, you have to just meditate, and no chanting, nothing. You have to just focus on your breathing and see what all your mind does. And that is a challenge. Even today, if you just decide to sit for with our eyes closed for 10 minutes, you will see where all your mind goes. Lot of understanding about your own mind. So I did this Vipassana course for 10 days, and then I came back and I'm practicing my Vipassana on a daily basis in the morning for 1 hour. So in all this, whatever the incident that has happened in my life, that has given me an opportunity that in future, whatever comes, now I know how to look at it. Now I know what all I need to do about it so that I can disintegrate that situation. I can, explore the possibilities to see what all can be. So this limiting belief that this is it, that totally has gone in my mind. So and this is what I have taken professionally to my participants and also to women around there. Why I'm specifying women? Because I know what happens when you get married. uh, to satisfy others, and to, you're so involved into that relationship that you forget about your own, being. And that's how I always convey this to my participant as well in my session, and whoever I meet, that we are being, being, and ing is present continuous, and present continuous means we will be happening all the time, and that is a possibility. So it's not that we are done, we are being human. So being is a continuous process till we leave this world. And even the last breath, still there is an opportunity to touch someone, to do something. Or maybe if your body is not giving up that kind of opportunity, still with your mouth, by saying something, you can still touch somebody's life. So this I have like learned a very hard way. But then, yeah, thank you for that. Because of this pain, I could see the possibilities. So my journey from pain to possibilities is like all that has, like, it has made me whoever I am today. So that's all my story is all about.
Everybody, my name is Kishore Bagardev. I'm from Hyderabad. I'm basically an engineer with engineering background. I would like to just give only few things to tell everybody. I believe we should have good inner self-image. Then we should also have self-confidence. If these two things are with you, probably self-motivation and all other things that are required in our life to really carry forward or carry on comes automatically. So my story is mainly about the inner self-image and self-motivation. I've come from a very uh, below poverty line background. My father was working for a central government. He was a central government employee, and my mother was obviously 60 years back. She was a homemaker, and we were five brothers and two sisters, and I was number six in my among my siblings. All were elder to me, but then when we came to Hyderabad in 1960, we were really going through. Means my father was working, but he was, his salary was not sufficient. For family was big, and we really struggled all through until, I can tell you, until I was maybe into the sixth standard. Until then, I mean, until that time, I was not really actually realizing that we are going through some kind of a struggle or anything. But later on, there were days even we have gone without food for even 2 days. But then that really never occurred to our mind, why I'm not getting food or anything. But yes, everybody was without food, and my parents, they used to tell some story and all. And even there was a time when probably we used to even eat two biscuits, and that was all. But then slowly, as I started, I grew. When I came to seventh standard and all, when I started going to a higher school, then I realized, after seeing a lot of my friends, what was their background, and I used to hear their story. Then I realized, yes, there is something which is not common in my house, which is not common. And I then realized, yes, my parents are really struggling hard to take care of the family. But then that is how it was about, say, 50 years back or 60 years back. One person were earning, and then so many dependents and all. So it was the same story what we hear from so many other people, so many stories we hear. But then as I started coming into eighth standard and all, then I realized that no, I should do something. And I should not really depend on my parents for something for me. And I don't want to be dependent. I should start earning something. So when I was in eighth standard, I started really going to, there used to be the area where we used to stay nearby, there was a biscuit factory. I used to go there without telling my parents what I'm doing. I used to go after the school hours. I used to get there and just wrap biscuit packets. And those days, in the year 1971, 72 or so, I was getting something like, they used to pay me something like, at the end of the day, they used to maybe about 2 rupees or so. But I was happy. I said, okay, 2 rupees I have earned. So like this, I started my struggle. And when I passed my 10th standard, then I decided, no, from now on, I'm not going to depend on my parents for anything. Means for education fees or anything, books or whatever, even including clothes. Then I started teaching students. Not many. I used to teach maybe about 3 students, 4 students of standard 6th, 7th, and maybe one for standard 1 and 2 also. That's how I started earning. I used to earn those days about 74, I should tell you. In 74, I used to earn something about 22, 24 rupees by teaching these 3 or 4 students. And whatever I used to earn out of that, I used to give about 80% of the money to my mother, because I knew the struggle that she was going through. So I used to give that money to my mother. And rest money I used to keep for myself to take care of maybe the books. And those books also were not new books. I used to buy it from some friend, maybe some old classmate who were having maybe those, pasted books and all those things. Those books I used to buy, and I used to. But trust me, when I was going through all this, I never felt that, I'm from such and such background, or I'm, something, uh, a lowly fellow or something like that. I was always feeling, no, this is me and myself. Don't have to really worry about who is my friend, whether they are from upper strata or lower strata or whatever it is, what they are. But incidentally or luckily, my friends were very helpful to me. They understood they used to understand what my family background, and they were not really making any fun or anything. They were really helpful. But then as I started growing, I then I did my engineering until last year of my engineering. I helped myself. I used to earn, and I used to really I took care of my entire education. Only in the final year when we were doing project, I went to some other place like Ramagundam, and I went to another place called Lower Silaru to complete my projects. So those 6 months, my parents had to, until my father had to really support me, because those places I could not really do anything. But I really now also I remember the kind of struggle my father had to do even that time to support me. But then that was the story. But only that 6 months or so, I was really taking care of my parents. But I'm really proud of my parents. I'm not saying that they did not do anything for me. Nothing of that sort. I am very proud of my parents. But then subsequently, my journey started. I finished my engineering. I joined a company by name KG Khosla Compressors, and there, I know it is something like, any engineer, once he completes his engineering or completes his education, he want to really work. So that's how I just wanted to take up some job. It was not that I was passionate about maybe sales or something. Then I took up a job. I got a job in sales. I said, okay, sales करेंगे, sales क्या है उसमें? I don't know. I I joined that company at a branch level in Hyderabad. I worked there for about 1.5 years. But then I was so novice, I did not know the ABCD of sales and marketing. So I was a failure for at least 1.5 years, I should tell you. I mean, 1.5 years. In fact, those days, office, the atmosphere used to be like something like a family. Even the bosses used to be, okay, take it, yaar, chalo, chalne do, karne do, chalne do, karne do. So my boss also was not so very, harsh or anything with me. But then my another regional manager was very harsh on me. He said, Kishore, in 1.5 years, you have not even sold 4 compressors. What are you doing? Are you here to क्या garden में खेलने आया हो क्या? Are you here to do something, just like that? You have taken more salary than what you have sold. And that was the time then I had to really approach, because then I told my manager, well, something is wrong with me. You teach me what is selling. I don't know anything. Please teach me. I don't want to really leave this company. I want to, even if I have to go out of this company, I must learn first here. Only then I will go to the next company. So please teach me. Then, I was actually given 3 months time to improve myself. Then a person came, he started really telling me what is sales, how to do sales and all those things. And believe me, I worked in that company for about 4 years, 8 months. And after 1.5 years, I started, he really coached me so well that when I left the company in June 2000 or 1986, I sold about 600 compressors in about 3.5 period. So I consider that as a achievement for me. But then, very honestly, even though my colleagues and my bosses, they used to really scold me, or they used to really pass on bad comments on me, but I never really took those as something. It never, I never went into any depression or never felt disappointed. I said, okay, this is how I am, and I would like to really learn. And I started learning. But then after that, very frankly, friends, I never looked back in my life as far as sales and marketing is concerned. I've been very honestly, let me be modest. I've been successful in sales and marketing, and today, very proudly, I can sell any product on the earth. I don't have to be a particular. I did not say I sell only this product or that. I can sell any product. But that is not all. But what went through all this thing is I had that self confidence. Was a go getter. I was a happy to go lucky type person. I never felt disappointed. I never felt hatred towards anybody. I never compared myself with somebody. If I am, they are doing well. I'm not doing well. But that was momentary. But then throughout my life, I have only followed one thing, that if your inner self image is good, or if you are self motivated, then you can really overcome all whatever hurdles you have in your life. You can really overcome those things, and you can still be successful. And then success, of course, everybody has a different meaning for success. For me, the success is I could really overcome all challenges in my life. I've been a self-made man, I can say very confidently and very proudly. And today I still follow the same thing. I have, in fact, looked forward to people criticizing me, so that when they criticize me, I would like to really prove myself. Yes, okay, you have criticized me. I would like to do something. So that is my story so far, and thank you so much for hearing me.
To all these stories, so most of them all the small time, town, coming from small towns and succeeding in life, it's really inspirational. But basically about me, I basically, was in the metro throughout my life, and I would like to talk about one aspect of my life, that is, education. And see, if since since my schooling and college, I'd always been interested in knowledge. I always been interested in gaining knowledge and reading more, uh, wanting to know more always. And though I was not a very outstanding student of mine, I didn't get any great grades, and I had a lot of failures in my education also. But those failures did not prevent me from going further. Like 10th standard, for example, was my first failure actually. It was a board exam at that time point of time, and I failed in one of my subjects in uh, in the 10th standard. And it was like a big shock to me. In fact, I was so proud of myself that that I had that ego and I had that self confidence that I can never fail in a subject, uh, leave apart, get low marks. So it was like a rude shock to me that time. And what happened at that point of time was I was literally went into a depression at the point of time, when 10th standard was one of the critical exams, at that point of time, where it goes the next level, where you go the next next higher education starts. So that was a very big shock to me. And I could, literally for weeks together, I had to, I went into, I was became very very depressed. And even my parents and all were very concerned, what will happen next, because they had all their hopes on me, and that I would come up and go get higher education. So it was a very defining moment for me. And what happened in that instance is, it was like, uh, I was in Chennai, and basically this was the I studied in Mumbai actually. But at that point of time, when I got the results, I was in Chennai. And when I got those results, it what happened is that certain after a month or two, what happened is then it those marks and all, when it came to me. I started thinking, and then some the quick turn of fate. What happened is always did I was in National Cadet Corps, so then NCC at that point of time. I did NCC, and there's always this marks for NCC when you cross in 10th. There is marks for NCC, and those marks was counted into my subject in which I failed. So I finally passed. They put me. They turned the result around and made me pass that exam, and that was a really turning point for me. And it helped me, that helped me come across that. And then I carried my education forward, and I was really wanted to always go further in my education. So I wanted to do an MBA, and though I tried IIM many times, I tried and tried. I again failed. Again, I after 1 year, 2 years, I again tried IIM. I tried and tried, and I again failed IIM. So again, I with all these failures, I was saying, yeah, what is happening? Why am I failing again and again? Though I want to do it. So, what I did is then I did my MBA finally, but I didn't do it in IIM, but I did it in another university. So I passed through MBA, and I finally said, okay, I will do that MBA, and I did it in a college next to Chennai, not a known college, but it was a very good standard as per me. It was a very good standard MBA which I did, and after that, while I started my corporate work, I went into my corporate work and I started working, and it went on and on and on. Then I again felt there is some kind of void in me, and I'm doing the same thing. I don't have any thrill in it. So I said, let me do again. Let me get myself educated further. So maybe after again around 10 years of my work, I did after doing 10 years of my MBA, again I went into I started to do a certification, and then at that time I finally got into IIM after 10 years. Then it was not a full-fledged program, it was a weekend program, and IIM Kolkata I got into, and I did a 1 year kind of a senior management program it was having at that point of time. So finally my dream of getting into IIM was finally reached. So this dream was finally accomplished, and I felt really very delighted, and that finally I wanted to get into this place, and I got into this place. And I also visited their facility in Calcutta a couple of times, and did the program there. So it was a very good experience, and which I would remember for a lifetime. And then after that, again I started working in my working career. I continued with my working, and then again after some time, again I felt another void. So whenever I felt a void, I said, let me get myself educated. So every time this thing, I said I wanted to upgrade myself. Kept this mind kept coming that I wanted to upgrade myself further and further. So people, when I did my IIM also, people were saying, "Arey, why you are doing? It will not have any impact on your career much. Are you doing it?" But still, I said no, I'll do it. At that point of time, the course cost was no more than 4 lakhs, 10 years back. So that was a huge amount of money 10 years back to pay 4 lakhs. It was worth like 10 lakhs today. For last 10 years back, 4 lakhs. So, but still, I went ahead and did it. And even then, after that, in after recently, after 10 years of my working, again I started my education journey, and still today I'm still continuing with the journey of education, which I kept thinking that I have to keep myself upgrading and learning new things all the time. So it's this endeavor of learning has really carried me through my life. And whenever I was stressed and I felt things are not going my way, I again took to learning. So every time I felt some obstacle in my life, or something is not amiss in my life, I took to learning. So the learning journey has really been stuck with me, and people still saying that today also you're doing the same course, you're still going somewhere, doing some class or other, sitting in the home and doing class at home, online class. So every time people keep saying that, but I said no, this is not the thing. I will want to keep upgrading myself all the time, come what may, in my life, whatever difficulties I have faced in my life, being that, though I have taken loans, I have taken help of my family, I have taken everything I have done to, my help my education, but I have never, taken a step back. I never said that. I still go ahead. I take the help of people who I want to know. I take the money from them. I still educate myself. I don't know whether I can return the money yet, but still I want to still educate myself further. So this journey of education has really carried me this far, and I think this thing is really today the world has become that way. What I had, thought maybe 20 years back, that education will really change people, and there's no end to education. Once you finish your college degree and all, people say that's all. Education is that's it. So that, but now, what I thought 20 years back, today people are doing it. People are.
I'm Akila Subramanian from Chennai. I'm basically from a very traditional family. My parents are the first generation to move to Chennai for their job, and we three are daughters. And my father, I take till this moment, my father's only sentence has kept me going. Only education stays or support you, and nothing else. So the same thing has gone true in my life. So I'm basically a electrical electronics engineering candidate with a diploma. It was like a first class with distinction. That was the only regular education for me. And all the other education till today, my MPhil and PhD, it has all come from a distance education, and nobody can distinguish this from a regular to a distance education because of my performance or something. During my polytechnic studies, I was really married at the age of 19, and I was in my middle of my education actually. So I can say it was uh, the marriage went happily, but it wasn't a happy marriage life. So I tried all my level best to take it in a loving, caring, the sharing manner, but it didn't work well. And I was really not given support. Only thing is, okay, fine. In a very short time, I really understood that okay, education is the only thing that will support me to my life. So I passed it well. Then I was not permitted for a higher education. I really my ambition was to have a BE, Akila BE, and it had never come true in my life. Though I possess a PhD, I'm still behind my name. So because no, I will not support you to take that. So I never had my support from my husband or financially. So during my college days, it was really surprising or wonderful to see me hand bandaged with scars over the face, everything. So everyone is wondering like, oh, this girl is so daring. Okay, fine, she's coming up like. So with that, I finished my regular studies with diploma. Later on, after that, that was a time when Windows, Microsoft was emerging. Then I took my small education at the NIT, a part-time education. Then I took um, a part-time job too, or a very small package. So I really thank God that he had put me in the correct places wherever whenever I wanted it. So I had served orphanage institution. It was Bala Mandir Kamaraj Trust at T Nagar. Many of you may have known that, and it helped me to realize how important uh, the parents neurons, like for the children. So I used to see single parents with mother, father, or no parents. I really loved them. After the till the teaching time, they will call me teacher, teacher. Okay, okay, fine. After the teacher, once the 5 o'clock is over, they call me, sit around me, like akka, akka, you tell me this, you tell me that. So that was a thing like that gave me the real meaning of life. And also, the same college had a Madhuram Narayan. It is for special children. Uh, Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So it was for special children where even 13 years, 15 years, well-grown child had to be carried on shoulders on the mother or father's thing. So that made me realize what life does except love. Except love, there's nothing. There's no requirement for life. So that platform also helped me to continue my UG, PG, my computer studies, and I was really gifted. And in that orphanage, there was Maya, right on there. Everyone used to call her Amma, and she used to say, "Akila, you are very important." Even in a day, if I feel sick, like she will really call me and say, "Akila, you are really very important for us. Please take care of you." Like, okay, then I realize, oh, so somewhere I'm important for someone. So that made me growing, like huge. Once I completed it, I mean the distance education, like from Madras University. So once I finished it, then I had a question. So all these years, I really had a ambition. My passion was to be a lecturer for higher education. So all this, but I didn't know, I didn't have any idea because all these years I was working on my family problems too, to how to uh, live a peaceful life with my husband, right? So this PG also, one fine day, my sister from abroad, she called me, Akila, you wanted to be a lecturer in college, so definitely you need a PG. So please register for it and please undergo that. So that moment really helped me to continue my PG, and it went very well, and it was with the first class. So immediately when I finished, like I was really lucky to apply for overseas, and my first job experience was my overseas, and it was in Ethiopia. Everyone was saying, "Oh, it's an underdeveloped country. Why do you go there? Why do you want to be there, etc." But still, okay, some instinct, like okay, it will be fine. I'll be fine. Then I took my travel. Then I realized there it was such a wonderful place to live in. So I felt like, I was born there in my, maybe in my previous births, because that connection, that connectivity with the people, with the nature, with the soil, like that was a wonderful. And this gave me really the peace. So why fighting? The law says now, because you are married, it doesn't mean that you have to live together. So till the time I was really working hard, thinking hard how it should be. Right. So that was the moment, that was the years that had helped me, that I have other purpose in life. So every 2 years I used to return, because there are projects, like I was a teacher, I was lecturer there. So whenever I return, like the day I come back, the next day I will check with my newspapers. The very next day I'll attend the interviews. Then the third day I will stick to an institution. So that was people used to wonder, when did you come and when did you join? Like, so later next, so this kind, like Eritrea. I had lived in other 4 countries like Ethiopia, Eritrea. Then I was a proud winner of UK's Tier 1 immigration visa. That was a time, the very hard recession period was there. Somehow I felt that I need not continue there, because already my children were grown up. So I had to return back. That was the only failure that I didn't continue. Later on, whenever I was here, whenever I was in India, very short period only, I had been maybe 6 or 7 years, and within that period, I was given the department head. Akila, you can do it. Akila, you will do. You continue like this. I used to not wonder, but it comes to me. So why all these things? I'm really surprising saying is, it was the words taken from my spouse. No, you will not do. You are not talented. You will not. You don't have that capacity. All these things I was really tampered. Like, so I always have this belief, like, oh, am I a fool? Am I not capable of doing that, etc. So out of that, I had been a successful professional on education, and every class in every country I have taken a really wonderful feedback. Students love me so much. And within this, always whoever sits with me to talk with, like they will say, especially ladies, they will say, like, Akila, I feel strong after talking to you. Really, I'll be a different person after this exam. But the thing is, nobody will guess or understand, like, it took me a long time, nearly a decade, to confirm myself as a single parent. Okay, it's me. I have to. I'm the one to take care of my children. Now, thank God, they are really very supporting me. Even today, my MPhil research examinations, if I say, Amma, I have to my children, uh, I have my examination. My elder one will say, no, ma, don't worry. I'll take care of kitchen. You study. So that kind of understanding, empathetic children, like I'm blessed with them. So all these things have come from my father saying, like only the education stays with you and nothing else. Because my parents, my father lost his mother at very young age and had been carried by stepmothers, all bad experiences. And my mother lost her father in a very young age, nearly like 5 months old. So what they believe is only the love and care. And my father belief is only education. Till this day, he is really supported or benefited by his education only. So I thank God and my parents who had given me that support, and the situations all have brought me to this end. So don't give up, never give up. And the meditation, my yoga and meditation, so anytime and any place I can sit few minutes for meditation. So and I can achieve it whatever I need. So this is what my orphanage service had made me, had put me on the right track, I believe, because I never left my students. I had always tied like a string, like. So thank God for every situation for I am today. So hope it was a good feel for you, for the listeners. Thank you very much.
Being brought up in a very middle class family where finance was a big crunch there, and all the time I could find when I was very small, I used to be in a joint family. That time, all the time, there was too much of fight. As a child, I grew up in only witnessing fights, difference of opinion, shouting, screaming, all these things. So somewhere by nature itself, that fear was one factor. It became my partner. Some up to some part of my time. But then later on, then we moved to schools, and you know what? Financial was one big issue in my family. And my mother was too young when she got married. She got married at the age of 13 to 14 years at that point of time. And by 20, I was born. I was the first person, and I have two more other siblings. And immediately after a period of 2 years, my siblings came into existence. As a child, I'm just saying as a perspective of a child, for me it's too much because one, the environment is too noisy for a child to even bear at that point of time. Second thing is here I was totally missing my mother's love and affection, and there is a sense of belongingness which always craved that I would like to be with people. So this was going on underneath, but somehow I felt like maybe this was a conducive environment for me to think like how Deepak and Akila was telling that education is really important. For me, that only one goal I fixed in my mind was that education is very important. And I will use this tool of education so that I will come up in life. So that's here more of me intrinsic. Okay, I got motivated just because being in the school. If you ask me what's the most happiest moment and which place would you call it as, for me it's mostly school because I didn't have enough of support from my parents. Now I respect them. Even that time I'm respecting them all the time. All the resources they had, they really worked hard. They toiled because my father was working in a BSNL office. He started his work as a watchman. Then, 2 years later, he got married. He got married. Then, 2 years later, 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 he got married. Then, he had a curiosity to learn. He is an excellent learner. And then he developed his skills, he upgraded himself, and then he grew up to be a faculty in BSNL. So he used to teach layman people how to put about the lines and, all those things he was able to teach. My mother, because she got up early marriage, and she knew nothing about family management, she knew nothing about finance. So whatever the person, the family, the head has to give her, she has to keep it providing. But it was not sufficient enough. But with all respect, with all the resources, they were able to bring forth, or they were able to give us the best education. Having said that, there will be a lot of days, there have been empty days for us that we have gone even hungry. So for that, nowadays children are wasting food, right? So I just can't take it up. But that moment there will be not food at all. So maybe one rice will be there, that too some ration rice will be there, and they have to boil and give it. And maybe if you're lucky enough, you get a curd. Otherwise, only with onions that you used to eat them, because that was only limiting sources. They had nothing. Just imagine, no, paying off everything to an education, and what will be left with you after the rent and the maintenance? Nothing will be there. And for the food, that there are many days that I've really starved for food, but all this turned out to be a motivating factor for me to really focus on education, which I felt like if something has to come as a miracle in my life, it is going to be only education. I believe very strongly in that. And there was also one thing which I felt was very strong enough within me, was that too, whatever I learned, I used to share it with my friends. Totally missing my mother's love and affection, and there is a sense of belongingness which always craved that I would like to be with people. So this was going on underneath, but somehow I felt like maybe this was a conducive environment for me to think like how Deepak and Akila was telling, that education is really important. For me, that only one goal I fixed in my mind was that education is very important. And I will use this tool of education so that I will come up in life. So that's here more of me intrinsic. Okay, I got motivated just because being in the school. If you ask me what's the most happiest moment and which place would you call it as, for me it's mostly school, because I didn't have enough of support from my parents. Now I respect them. Even that time I'm respecting them all the time. All the resources they had, they really worked hard. They toiled, because my father was working in a BSNL office. He started his work as a watchman. Then he had a curiosity to learn. He is an excellent learner. And then he developed his skills, he upgraded himself, and then he grew up to be a faculty in BSNL. So he used to teach layman people how to put about the lines and all those things he was able to teach. My mother, because she got up early marriage, and she knew nothing about family management, she knew nothing about finance. So whatever the person, the family, the head has to give her, she has to keep it providing. But it was not sufficient enough. But with all respect, with all the resources, they were able to bring forth, or they were able to give us the best education. Having said that, there will be a lot of days, there have been empty days for us that we have gone even hungry. So for that, nowadays children are wasting food, right? So I just can't take it up. But that moment there will be not food at all. So maybe one rice will be there, that too some ration rice will be there, and they have to boil and give it. And maybe if you're lucky enough, you get a curd. Otherwise, only with onions that you used to eat them, because that was only limiting sources. They had nothing. Just imagine, no, paying off everything to an education, and what will be left with you after the rent and the maintenance? Nothing will be there. And for the food, that there are many days that I've really starved for food, but all this turned out to be a motivating factor for me to really focus on education, which I felt like if something has to come as a miracle in my life, it is going to be only education. I believe very strongly in that. And there was also one thing which I felt was very strong enough within me, was that too, whatever I learned, I used to share it with my friends. This journey actually, it's not that people see me that Tulsi, you're able to share with people whatever you've learned, but it is not like that. It's now. It has already been happening since I was a very child, very small girl, maybe third standard or fourth standard. I used to stay back. I used to hold just a couple of minutes. confusing environment for me to even, because there were a lot of fights. Yeah, so much of finance crisis was happening, and my mother didn't know how to manage, bring up the children. So things went a facade every time, and then I had to land up in colleges. I didn't have any clarity that what can I do in further studies. I just chose certain subjects because I hated physics, so I chose commerce and accountancy. But then things didn't go the way that I really wanted to. Then I thought like, okay, let me choose some college and finish off my BCom. Then I did it in correspondence as MCom. Because in our family, most of the time fathers used to say that how much ever you want to study, study. That liberty I had in my family. But you're not supposed to go for a job. But now if I'm going to go and talk to a college group people, I definitely tell them, no, have your strong foundation in your career, then go and get married. That financial independence is to become for both boys and the girls. It's immaterial. Okay. I felt like financial freedom is gender neutral. But those days and all, no, people used to say, my father especially used to say, don't go for job. Why are you going out? Don't talk. Don't even apply for a job. Then okay, fine, then it has to go the same way, no other way, right? And because my father is a very dominant person and he's the head of the family, no other go. And in our family also not supposed to talk back, talking back, and they treat it as most disrespectful thing that any child could do for their family. And then I got married, just like in every family, the women, the girl child has to get married and given hand over to somebody else. So that's how happened. My spouse is an excellent being, and is a lovely companion. It's so generous, kind. He's very spontaneous when it comes to helping other people as well. So he was doing a business in hoarding. Hoardings is more of advertisement boards. If you've seen on the outskirts or in the metros, you'll be find a lot of big, big hoardings there for advertisement. So he used to engage people and get on the works. So things just passed for 5 years. And meanwhile, for the first 2.5 years, we didn't have any children. So that became a big issue in the society norms that, oh my God, you got married, now you don't have a child. So that is a repeated question. I really wanted to tell people out there, whoever listening, it doesn't matter. Children, they'll come. It's not necessary. We have to force things to happen, but it does come. Then after 2.5 years, I was blessed with a boy and a girl, and that 5 years was there and completely. And once he was supposed to travel to Pondicherry to put up his hoarding business, because we got recently a contract with Puducherry government to maintain the landscape. So while he was going there, he said that he'll be coming the next day, but he never returned because he just met with an accident. He died on the spot. So that was very shocking for me. It so happened tomorrow is Sthidi's 11th or 12th death anniversary. But when I recollect that moment, the same Sunday it was happened to be, and it's really, really hard for anybody to just believe that somebody is physically there all the time. Saturday night I was talking to them, and Sunday is completely not to be seen. It's a total disaster in my life. It's totally disaster. And all this time, uh, just see if it relates to you. All this time, people are telling, there'll be one person to take care of you, and that happens to be your spouse. It is being said both to boy and to the girl, but suddenly someone disappears all at once. How much shocking it would be, right? That time my son was only 2 years and my daughter was just born. Just she was only 40 days old. So that was total disaster. No support because my parents, my in-laws, they started washing hands together. My parents were saying that no, no, it's being done and dusted. You're being given married to somebody else. That's all. Now it is your mother-in-law family is responsible that they will be taking care of you entirely. My mother-in-law, in fact, they didn't help me. They really sued me for the property that I was living in. They wanted to sue me. They took me to court, and I found somewhere people are really, really bad. They don't have that what to say, that moisture, no, that we say something in Tamil we call it as Eram. So that's something is compassion is totally missing, and my parents not supporting, my brother not supporting, my sister not supporting, my friends are there to give me morally support, but who am I going to rely on? I having two children in front of me, where will I go? And the society, we all call it as a big thing, but we all keep asking for approval from them. I tell you, please mark in your notebook or wherever you are, this society will not be able to support you in whatever way you're going to do it. They'll be only keeping some excuses or something like that. They can only take the courage to talk at the back end and not in the front of you. So they were only passing comments saying that, oh, she's very young. Because by the time I became a widow, I was only 29 years of age. And they said, oh, she's good looking. She can, she can live the way she wants to. But I'm not that way. I really wanted to establish myself as a person. Suppose you're going to look at me and say, oh, yeah, Tulsi, yes, we respect you. Something like that. I would like to come from that zone, not as some idol or some celebrity or some different meaning with it. It is not so. My hardships are very severe because I went through so many places without even having any experience of. I've dealt with advocates, I've dealt with people. They're very mean, demeaning words. Even my own neighbors or even my own locality, they were only talking, oh, today she will be doing, oh, how can she survive? Her own parents are not coming and sitting with her. So that means something is hiding or something is kal mein kuch dala hai. So also stupid remarks were being passing. But one thing kept going me was that I really want to take up education. But that was the underlying factor and was most intrinsic for me. That then from then on, I took up education. I did bachelor's of education. Then I did my master's in education, and then I went into training. And then now I've bought a company and I'm running it with my own vision and mission. However, the travel, that sometimes it makes you really feel sick, and we start feeling like, what is this? I have to die with this feeling. There are many times I would have wept all alone. There are many times I was still craved for somebody. Hey, Hare, koi bhi ho to suno na. So those were the words that I kept resonating with. I really wanted people to understand and just listen to this. So whatever I'm doing right now is all replications of that. I would like to give a program for children, yes, because there is an emphasis on education. There is an emphasis of educating parents, because the parents, as parents, becomes our duty to tell our children like, Hare, we believe in you. We are there for you. That makes a tremendous amount of change in your parenting. And there are people, there are entrepreneurs who are still struggling to come up in their life. I'm there to support them, because as an entrepreneur, my journey is not that so easy. To establish myself as Thulasi in the market and training industry, it's damn difficult, but I'm doing it because maybe it's a go-getter attitude, or I really wanted to give back to the society more values, because everybody comes with different journey. Let's respect each other. Let's honor each other. Meanwhile, I'm also a Reiki healer. I heal myself. But the best healing comes when you're associated with your loved ones, is it not? So I met a person uh, and I remarried. I'm happily remarried now. There was, of course, a lot of friction when I got married. There was so much of tug of war, because in his family it was his first marriage, and they're not still accepted me as daughter-in-law. But still, my husband loves me more than he used to love me. Okay, when we are in BA, so that's basically a love marriage. I went against the society only, but I feel now that yeah, I made a good decision that I chosen him, and he's been a great source of moral support to me. Whatever I do, I discuss with him. So it's a beautiful, pretty part. And about the children also, I feel so blessed, because children knows us better. So if you're old, they all never go with our examples you're going to share. They only see you as a role model. So that's been a wonderful journey. I've keep meeting people, and my journey is a very continuous basis. I really don't want to say a stop or keep a full stop over there. I would like to be a source of instrument, to put a comma and say that I'm there for you. I will support you, whatever way you are. I'm there to listen to you. So with this, I would like to end. Thank you so much for your time and patience. And you've been a wonderful participant. And thanks a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Speech,
think it's
speechless.
yeah, it's
Speechless.
Yeah,
All in silence.
yeah, it's really like yeah, no words. I mean, struggles you have gone through, but it's. I mean, so I mean, after listening to you, we need to be really gratitude
Yeah.
towards the God for giving us this life. Like what we compare. I mean, we keep cribbing about small things. But listening to all of you,
Yeah.
really, felt like how lucky I am, right?
Yeah,
It's, thank you so
yeah.
much.
Yeah, there's a phrase by Helen Keller. She says, I used to complain about not having shoes until I met a man with no feet. I'm just paraphrasing it. So, listening to everyone who shared their story today, I mean, it's so inspiring. And literally, and when I see myself, I feel good. I'm not a speaker because really I have nothing to contribute. I mean, you all are an inspiration. I mean, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commendable honesty.
Most welcome. Rohit.
Thank you so much, Tulasi, for sharing your this inspirational story. And somewhere I got a little emotional because similar thing happened when my brother died. It was just a 16 days marriage, and so I'm still in touch with my bhabhi. So I kind of become so speechless about this, and it would have taken a lot of courage to to take it from there. And the second thing which I got resonated is particularly when the family doesn't support, and this also, because if I would share that part of the story, it would be a big story. So even I have also gone through that phase when your mother-in-law comes and says that you're not the one with like and you're not the one I selected for my son. And then I asked, like, what would you do? She said that, okay, I have to tolerate you for my rest of my life. So it's a pain actually, and it's very difficult to take it from that, that you can't do anything, you can't change their mind, and then taking your pain journey. So hats off to you, Tulsi. I mean, sharing a story is such an inspiration, I'd say.
Yeah, thank you. And this passage of time, I really don't have any regrets on anybody because somewhere or the other, these people have been a source of inspiration for me to move on. Values in us, let them not the values die for any other reasons. Please take a minute. Kindly note down maybe 5 people who would like to give a gratitude to them. You just pray for them. Please write the list of people whom you would like to give a gratitude and please pray for their well being. People are people. That's what I put in a post. Life is life. Situations are situations. And I am the way I am, you're the way you are. It is all destined. But how much am I going to improve myself? By improving myself, how much can I give back to the society? Tree is a very typical example. The sprouts, seeds, sprouts, they grow to big tree, but they keep giving the shade, is it not? They never wondered that nobody supported me. They grow with support of the nature. There is some universal power, right? Once done, please close your eyes for 30 seconds and please pray for the well-being of those who have listed in your gratitude prayers and also to yourself with full heart that may all people get the necessary support and a community to grow with. Just for 30 seconds. Wonderful. The moment we think that they're all the same, with that sense of oneness, we'll not be able to carry even the resentment within us. It's easy for us to let go. We can easily forgive somebody else. But in fact, when you have to, more than forgiveness, I think we can be more showing gratitude to all the people around us. It can be a pet, it can be the place right now you are. Those days I suffered, when I was in a child, but now I'm comfortably placed. God's grace, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
The clapping will never end.
And this passage of time, I really don't have any regrets on anybody because somewhere or the other, these people have been a source of inspiration for me to move on.
Yes.
Just like very aptly, Akila ma'am also said, no, her husband said that you can't do it. Just like Kishore also said, I'm ready to face a criticism. I'm already ready to face a criticism, whether you believe it or not. Somebody says you're new to the corporate industry, then I'll say, oh yeah, okay, then I will set a trend. It's a nice opportunity for me to look at life itself.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I mean, People are there to criticize you. Whatever you do, you may be doing something good, still people will criticize you.
Yeah.
Because why they criticize is because they are criticizing something which is not there with them.
Yeah. Yes.
They criticize something which they are lacking.
You're seeking support from outside. It's not you're getting it. It's okay, good to go. Just say thank you to them and move on. Instead of finding excuses or blaming or criticizing anybody, I think we can all join hands together and step forward. This will be a wonderful journey together. That's what I suppose. Can I take 1 minute of your time? Can you all please write down names of the person who would like to be, you would like to show gratitude to them? How much am I going to improve myself? By improving myself, how much can I give back to the society? Tree is a very typical example. The sprouts, seeds, sprouts, they grow to big tree, but they keep giving the shade, is it not? They never wondered that nobody supported me. They grow with support of the nature. There is some universal power, right? Once done, please close your eyes for 30 seconds and please pray for the well-being of those who visited in your gratitude prayers and also to yourself with full heart that may all people get the necessary support and a community to grow with. Just for 30 seconds. Wonderful. The moment we think that they're all the same, with that sense of oneness, we'll not be able to carry even the resentment within us. It's easy for us to let go. We can easily forgive somebody else. But in fact, we have to, more than forgiveness, I think we can be more showing gratitude to all the people around us. It's still struggling, they're in the shell. I would like each of you to become a change agents and take this forward. So the next month, say my story, my inspiration. Let us have even more participants. Let us draw inspiration from each other. With this note, humble gratitude to everybody out there. Thank you so much.